Have you ever stopped and wondered if we all see the world in the exact same way? Well, today we're diving into a question that might just blow your mind. Do the words you know actually change the colors you perceive? Is your reality being filtered, or maybe even built, by the very language you speak?
Okay, just imagine this for a second. What if you couldn't see the color blue? Not because there's anything wrong with your eyes, but because your mind, your language, had no concept for it, no separate box to put it in. Sounds pretty crazy, right? Well, you might be surprised by the evidence.
So, our first stop on this journey takes us to Namibia, to meet the Himba people. Researchers showed them a deceptively simple color test that ended up revealing something absolutely incredible about the link between language and sight.
Okay, take a look at the circle on the left. If you're an English speaker, that blue square just pops right out, doesn't it? Easy. But for the Himba, it's a real struggle because their language doesn't have a separate word for blue. Now look at the circle on the right. Can you spot the different shade of green? It's tough, right? But for the Himba, who have tons of words for different greens, they can pick it out in a flash. Their language has literally trained their brains to see a difference most of us completely miss.
So what on earth is going on here? How can a word, or the lack of a word, have such a huge impact on our most basic senses? Well, this leads us to a really powerful and, let's be honest, kind of unsettling idea called the language prison hypothesis.
Think of it like this. The words you know for colors are like a special pair of glasses you're always wearing. And these glasses aren't neutral. They make certain colors stand out, super sharp and clear, while kind of blurring the lines between others. You're not just looking at the world, you're looking at the world through the filter of your language. Now, the official scientific name for this whole idea is the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. And put really simply, it's the theory that language isn't just a handy tool we use to describe the world we see. No, it's actually a tool that helps shape and influence the world we see from the very beginning.
And here's the thing, the Himba are not some weird, isolated case. Clues that back up this incredible idea are popping up all over the world, and even deep, deep in our own history.
For literally centuries, scholars were scratching their heads over this famous line from Homer's Odyssey. Why on earth would he call the sea wine dark? Well, it turns out the ancient Greek language didn't have a specific, distinct word for the color blue. It seems they just saw it as another shade on a spectrum that included dark reds and purples. They couldn't see a blue sea because they didn't have a word for it.
Okay, but that was thousands of years ago, right? This isn't just some ancient history thing. Let's look at a fantastic example that's happening right now in the Russian language spoken today. You see, in English, we basically have one word, blue. Sure, we can say light blue or dark blue, but they're still just types of blue. In Russian, it's a completely different ballgame. They have two totally separate basic words, siniy for dark blue and goluboy for light blue. And for a Russian speaker, these aren't just shades of the same color. They are as different from each other as red is from pink for us. And get this, it has a real measurable effect. When scientists actually timed people, they found that Russian speakers are significantly faster at telling the difference between siniy and goluboy than English speakers are. Their language gives them a genuine cognitive edge. It literally helps them see that difference more quickly. So this isn't just about culture or what you're used to. We're now finding that language can actually physically rewire how our brains process reality itself. Let's get into the neuroscience. Now, this next part is absolutely crucial. It's the real mind bender. We used to think it worked like this. You see a color, and then your brain goes searching for a word to label it. But that's not what happens. The language centers of your brain jump into the action right from the start during the act of perception itself. So, let's walk through it. First, light hits your eyes. Then, your visual cortex fires up. But, and here's the twist, almost at the exact same moment, the language centers of your brain also activate. They're in conversation with each other. And it's only after that dialogue happens that your final perception of the color is actually created. Language isn't just a label you stick on at the end, it's a co-creator of what you see. All right, let's pull all this together. What does this all mean for you and me? How does this change the way we think about our own experience of the world? Here's the big takeaway. The rainbow doesn't actually come pre-sliced into red, orange, yellow, and so on. That's just a story our culture tells us. In reality, it's a continuous, unbroken spectrum of light. Our languages are like the cookie cutters we use to stamp out neat artificial chunks from that smooth gradient. And as we've seen, where your language chooses to make those cuts literally determines the reality you perceive. Which leaves us with one final huge question.
If our language really does define the boundaries of what we see, does that mean we're trapped inside of it? Did our ancient, pre-linguistic ancestors maybe see a richer, more continuous reality that we've since lost access to? It's a staggering thought, isn't it? That the very tool we use to understand our world might also be limiting it.